Update for the week of 1/4/2016, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Alex. So it looks like it's going to be an exciting time, doesn't it?
Man, like the body's not even cold on 2015, and
I know.
here we are. I'm looking at a tax bill for Maine, which isn't even in session yet, and they don't allow pre-filing. So this is actually something that was carried over from last session.
Right.
Um, but it will be working on something for this. It's kind of hard to do. I mean, I guess I don't know how they work up there. Clearly, they've got some crazy ideas about how to tax electronic cigarettes. But yeah, their session does not start until I had this up earlier. Maine. Their session starts on the 6th, so in 2 days. So we'll probably get something out in the next couple of days. And then there is a hearing scheduled for this tax bill on the 13th.
Wow.
So that
Man, they don't
is
mess around.
no next Wednesday. Well, this is something that was from last session, so I guess it has had time to sit around or something.
Okay.
But yeah, if anybody's curious and you want to do a little homework in advance, check out Title 36, Chapter 703, cigarette tax in the Maine revised statutes. Essentially, what this bill will do is redefine cigarette to include electronic cigarette, which would subject e-cigarettes to all of the tax, everything that is imposed on regular cigarettes. So stamps and blah blah blah. It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I don't want to speculate on what the success or failure of this is going to be, but this is kind of a different one. Most of the time, we see it being redefined as tobacco or just straight up saying we're just going to tax vapor products. There you go. But this is redefining cigarette to mean or electronic cigarette. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, so yeah, right out of the bat, right out of the gate, here we are talking about tax bills. There is also a tax bill that was pre-filed in Kentucky. Let's see, I have two. One is BR 801, and another one changes the definition of tobacco product. Actually, this does not have anything to do with e-cigarette. So BR 801 is something that we'll be keeping an eye on. And Kentucky starts their legislative session tomorrow. So this week we've got about what do we have? 14 states that will be in session by the end of the week. Yeah, California started their session today. I don't even know why they take a break in California. They should just they love making their law. So yeah, that's that. This year I think by this time last year I had our legislative preview up and running because we had a handful of bills that had been pre-filed. This year, the only pre-filed bill that I was able to see was the one in Kentucky. So either legislative sessions, there's carryover, there's off years, there's intense years. And so this is 2016 being an election year also might change maybe how things pop up, or they just figured, wow, these vapor people are crazy. Let's not give them any advance warning. Which would make this, the next 2 months, a little bit more scary. Pretty anxious to see how that plays out. So those are the two things. I feel like there was. I know that you put together this list, and I want to refer to that. Um, so it's been. Has it been like 3 weeks since we've done an update?
Uh, it's only 2. Can you believe it?
Wow.
I know.
I'm not a huge fan of the holidays, so everything just feels longer. From like, I mean, Thanksgiving to after New Year's, just it could be
Yep.
its own year. Um,
Yeah. Oh,
but
I hear you. I deal with the public. I'm right there with you.
so yeah, I guess the big news is that the Chicago vapor tax is uh, enacted. Ugh, I don't even really want to talk about it. Everybody knows about it. It's a horrible tax, and one thing I will say is that uh, there are more than one group calling for Mayor Emanuel to resign. So if you are one of those people that's inclined to jump on bandwagons, um, that's a pretty important bandwagon to jump on. Uh, you know, e-cig people are obviously not the only people that Emmanuel has run the foul of. So I believe hashtag ROM resign is pretty popular on Twitter. Vaping truth is also a popular hashtag. Be sure to include some actual vaping truth in that, because the Chicago Department of Public Health won't include any in their campaign.
Oh no.
Um, and speaking of potentially useful information, I was just browsing it before we got on the air here. Um, uh, Carl has released our survey data from the CASAA survey that we put together the last couple months of 2015. So that is available in the Anti-THR Lives blog. So feel free to check that out. Um, and this was part of information that we presented to OIRA, I believe. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I've been talking about calls to action that we haven't gotten around to yet, but there was something really great that happened the last week and a half of 2015. For those who don't know, Iowa Attorney General Tom Miller released a statement pretty much, maybe not so much in support of electronic cigarettes, but at the very least in support of having a reasoned conversation about electronic cigarettes. And we, CASAA is very appreciative of him taking the opportunity to use his position to somewhat set the record straight about vapor products. In his news release, he sort of fights back against some of the misinformation that's been promoted and makes a very good point that it is unfortunate that millions of smokers believe electronic cigarettes to be just as harmful as smoking. So we have put together our own Thank You, Attorney General Miller campaign. It's available on our blog, and everybody should have gotten an email today. And so if you don't live in Iowa, there is a pre-written letter that you can, it's on a Google Doc. If you would like to add your personal story, copy and paste it into your own Word doc program, add your story, print it out, and mail it to Attorney General Tom Miller, because I believe you can send him email, but this is more just, for residents outside of the state.
Right.
And then, of course, you can share AG Miller's comments with your own Attorney General. And the AGs being I don't know if they were the Attorney General's involvement in the Master Settlement Agreement and
Oh yeah.
all things tobacco is very significant. So
Oh yeah, it
it's
is.
very important to put some pressure on your Attorney General and um, help to amplify A.G. Miller's comments. This was something that didn't really get, when a dozen or more AGs get together and sign a letter saying, e-cigarette flavors are corrupting your children. It's splashed across the media you know, like a 50 car pileup or something.
Right.
But an attorney general comes out and says, no, wait, we're gonna be adults about this, and I'm gonna set the record straight. Mm-hmm. Suddenly, no one's interested. So it's very important to help amplify his statement and get that in the hands of. I'm sure they all go to breakfast together and have already given a bunch of grief about it, but now it's our turn to give them some grief for spreading misinformation and lies. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. The other thing that came out, this was a New Jersey-oriented thing. From time to time, states will pass resolutions. They don't have any. There's no legal implications for these resolutions. It's like a proclamation. I hereby declare this pizza to be awesome. If there are any Mr. Show fans in the crowd, the resolutions are in New Jersey are to encourage the federal government to regulate electronic cigarettes, which according to our assessment and the assessment of other very knowledgeable and wise people, is that regulation is a horrible idea. So if you are a New Jersey resident, please take a moment to send a message to your New Jersey lawmakers telling them to oppose this resolution. Even though it's symbolic, it still gives us an opportunity to engage in this dialogue and, of course, educate our state lawmakers that the proposed regulations for e-cigarettes are horrible, and kind of just unpack that a little bit and say, this isn't something that the New Jersey legislature should be supporting. This isn't something that the New Jersey legislature should emulate in any way. Right. And if anything, there should be a resolution condemning the FDA regulations. Not that I don't think I put that in the letter, but something along those lines. So if you live in New Jersey, please tell them to oppose this. And stuff like this gets kind of rubber stamped. It's feel good, kind of like, oh yeah, that's great, protect the children. So some sort of vocal opposition to that would be very helpful. And I guess the rest of this is, I haven't. I feel like there was more. Did I miss something? The holidays totally screw me up.
Yeah, I don't know. But there will never be. There's not going to be a shortage of these stories for a little while. Not while legislators are back in office.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. Julie has already threatened that my life is going to suck for the next couple of months. But I have to say, I'm actually, it's interesting, and it's it's worth fighting. So it doesn't suck that hard.
But you like legislation and stuff, sitting there and reading it and untangling it and trying to figure out how the iron triangle works. No, I don't, but I can understand if somebody who really liked legislation was involved with untangling it, it would be interesting and fun for them.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I guess the other thing that since I don't have, I did start on kind of a review of 2015, um, looking back to kind of look forward. And I can't remember if we talked about this last time, um, but Tobacco 21 is going to be probably the new dance craze in state legislatures this year. I mean, on top of taxes and indoor use bans. Um, oh, that does remind me. The other thing about Attorney General Tom Miller, there was a news piece that followed. It was kind of a local Iowa news piece that followed his news statement, and it's interesting to me that he is advocating for a reasoned discussion about electronic cigarettes, yet uh, is making a public statement saying that he's supportive of indoor use prohibitions, um, which is, you know, if you've been following CASAA for any length of time, you know that our position is that any laws that treat these products the same as cigarettes sends a confusing message. So there is a little bit in the letter that we've put together, you know, sort of challenging his position on that and asking him to sort of rethink it.
Nice.
And again, this year, I'm sure that we will see lots of attempts to prohibit use indoors. Greg was kind enough to remind me that the Oregon indoor use prohibitions went into effect at the first of the year. Oregon is operating under New Jersey rules, which is no vaping anywhere, I guess, except for outside. You can still think about vaping, and you can vape on a public street, but you cannot vape in a vape shop.
Yeah.
So, Oregon. Um, and I guess, you know, the the temptation is certainly there to want to advance legislation that would repeal some of this horrible policy.
Right.
Um, but I will just say to kind of measure everybody's expectations, we're not there yet. The industry isn't there. The consumer, the community isn't there yet. There's a lot of money that goes into writing and introducing and babysitting a bill through the process to make sure that it doesn't get turned into something ugly.
Right.
So, um, uh, you know, it'll take some time. Unfortunately, these bills will do some damage while they are law, but uh, it's uh, it's just kind of one of those realities of making law that, you know, you need a lot of money to do it.
Yeah.
And I know that there's some spirited conversation about how wrong and evil that is, but you know, we are in the position that we're in, so we got to work with what we got. Enough of that. um, so yeah, Tobacco 21 will be a big deal, and yeah, I feel like I'm kind of rambling on and losing my path here, so I'll just try to cut it short and just let everybody know that, uh, you know, once again, we're keeping an eye. We've got our feelers out everywhere. We're keeping an eye on legislation that's being introduced, and um, we'll be working hard to make sure you know what's going on and ways that you can take action and engage with lawmakers.
Okay. Sounds good.
And I'm sure that next week's installment of this update is just going to be horrible.
It's just going to be one alert after another, isn't it? And
Eventually,
and
yeah.
yeah, yeah, we're heading back to that time again. Okay. I hope you enjoyed your little break.
It's I work in customer service too, so
Yeah, no, there's no break.
I had a few days off there, but most of that's just sort of recovering for the past couple of days and getting ready for the next few. So
Yeah,
um, yeah,
exactly.
yep.
Well, thank you for everything you do for us, Alex. Have a great night,
You
and
too.
we'll see
Thanks.
you next week. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.